Hello children. In this video lecture, I will explain you chapter of movements, chapter 2, The Adventures of Toto, written by Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond is an Indian author of British family. He lives with his adopted family in Indore, Missouri, India. The Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was awarded the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Nehra and his novel in English. He was awarded the Padma Shri in 1999 and the Padma Bhushan in 2014. The Adventures of Toto is an interesting story of a mischievous pet monkey. The narrator's grandfather loved animals and he brings home a pet monkey called Toto. The complete story revolves around Toto's constant nuisance and how he gets into trouble with his adventures. Finally, is sent back to the same place from where he came. Let's know about the characters of the chapter. First, Toto. Toto was very pretty and mischievous monkey who often gets into trouble with his amusing behavior. He was having sparkling eyes and had a lovely tail. Grandfather. A pensioner who was fond of animals. The grandfather of the author was a very simple man. He loved animals very much. He was a smart person. The grandfather was having his own private zoo. Ultimately, he lost his patience with Toto and returned him. Another character is author himself, a person who narrated the story and all mischievous incidents for his readers in an interesting way. Of Toto with all minute details. His description gave readers an immense feeling as if they had witnessed the incident live. Grandmother. The grandmother of the author was a very smart lady. She was a short-tempered lady. She was just opposite of the grandfather. She was very religious. She was perfect as of her rules. Let's start explanation of the chapter. Grandfather bought Toto from a Tonga driver for the sum of 5 rupees. The Tonga driver used to keep the little red monkey tied to a feeding trough, and the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. The writer's grandfather purchased a monkey named Toto from a Tonga driver by paying 5 rupees to him. The Tonga driver had tied the little red colored monkey to a large container used for feeding animals so that he could not run away. When the writer's grandfather saw the monkey, he had a desire to add him to the collection of animals which he had in his zoo at home. Toto was a very pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief beneath deep-set eyebrows, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly Anglo-Indian ladies. But his hands looked dried up as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, grandfather believed a tail would add to anyone's good looks, and also served as a third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. Now writer gives a description of Toto in this para. Toto was a very pretty monkey. Toto had bright shiny eyes which were full of mischief. The eyebrows were deeply set on his face. His teeth were like pearls. Many ladies belonging to the Anglo-Indian community got scared when they saw his teeth which were displayed when he smiled. Toto's hands were dry and wrinkled, as if they had been dried in the sun like pickled vegetables. His fingers were quick and wicked. He was very naughty and playful. He had a long tail. The writer's grandfather thought that the tail added to the good looks of an animal and also like a third hand for him. It helped him hang from the branch of a tree, and he also used it to lift objects which were beyond his hand's reach. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely, or so we thought, to a peg fastened into the wall. The writer's grandmother was against the grandfather's attitude of bringing new pets, birds, and animals. So the grandfather thought that they would hide this fact from her until she was in a good mood. The writer and his grandfather hid him and kept it secret that Toto was in the house. They kept Toto in a little cupboard in the writer's room. In order to be sure that Toto did not escape, they tied him to a hook in the wall. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. After a few hours, the writer and his grandfather went to Toto. The sight was shocking. Toto had torn all the decorative wallpaper. He had broken the hook and escaped from the binding. Also, he tore the writer's school blazer into pieces. The author thought that would be his grandmother's reaction. What would be his grandmother's reaction for the incident? But grandfather was tension free. Instead, he was happy with Toto's performance and his adventure. He's clever, said grandfather. Given time, I'm sure he could have tied the torn pieces of your blazer into a rope and made his escape from the window. The grandfather felt that Toto was very clever. He said that if they would have given him more time, he would have tied the thin pieces of the writer's torn blazer into a rope and would have escaped out of the window. His presence in the house still a secret. Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey would not allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. As we knew that his presence in the house till time was a secret. Now the grandfather had shifted Toto into the big cage to the servants' quarter. He would live with the other pets in a friendly manner in a grandfather's zoo. The zoo had a tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a squirrel, and the writer's pet goat. Toto was very mischievous. He did not let the other animals sleep at night. The writer's grandfather had to leave for Saharanpur the next day. So he decided to take Toto along with him as he was unmanageable at home. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas kit bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom, became his new abode. When the bag was closed, there was no escape. Toto could not get his hands through the opening, and the canvas was too strong for him to bite his way through. His efforts to get out only had the effect of making the bag roll about on the floor or occasionally jump into the air. An exhibition that attracted a curious crowd of onlookers on the Dehradun railway platform. The writer was disappointed as he could not accompany his grandfather and Toto on the trip. His grandfather narrated the happenings of the trip to him later. He had got a special bag for Toto. It was made up of canvas material. He placed some dry grass at the bottom of the bag. On the trip, the bag would be Toto's home as he would live in it. The bag had a zipper on top of it. The writer's grandfather ensured that when the bag was closed, Toto would not be able to escape out of it. Neither could he come out of the opening as it was closed with a zipper, nor could it bite the strong canvas material in order to run away. Still, Toto made unsuccessful attempts to come out of the bag. Due to this, many times the bag would roll on the floor or it would certainly jump in the air. These movements were noticed by the people on the railway platform and made them curious to know what was inside the bag. Toto remained in the bag as far as Saharanpur, but while grandfather was producing his ticket at the railway turnstile, Toto suddenly poked his head out of the bag and gave the ticket collector a wide grin. Toto remained secured in grandfather's bag till Saharanpur. But at the railway station, grandfather was taking out his ticket to cross the turnstile, mechanical gate. At that time, Toto picked out slightly of the bag and smiled at the ticket collector. The poor man was taken aback. But with great presence of mind and much to grandfather's annoyance, he said, "Sir, you have a dog with you. You will have to pay for it accordingly." In vain did grandfather take Toto out of the bag. In vain did he try to prove that a monkey did not qualify as a dog or even as a quadruped. Toto was classified a dog by the ticket collector, and 3 rupees was the sum handed over as his fare. The ticket collector was greatly surprised to see a monkey in grandfather's bag. But he recovered quickly and asked grandfather to pay the ticket money for traveling with a dog. Grandfather was unsuccessful in explaining to the ticket collector that Toto was a monkey and not a dog. He insisted that Toto was not even an animal with 4 feet. But the ticket collector was firm that Toto fell in the category of dogs. Grandfather had to pay 3 rupees for Toto's ticket. Then grandfather, just to get to his own bag, took from his pocket our pet tortoise and said, "What must I pay for this since you charge for all animals?" The ticket collector looked closely at the tortoise, prodded it with his forefinger, gave grandfather a pleased and triumphant look and said, "No charge, it is not a dog." Grandfather was disappointed. In order to take revenge from the ticket collector, he took out his pet tortoise from his pocket. He asked if he was supposed to buy a ticket for it too. The ticket collector took a close look at the tortoise, pushed it slightly, and announced that grandfather was not required to buy a ticket for it as it did not fall in the category of a dog. When Toto was finally accepted by grandmother, he was given a comfortable home in the stable, where he had for a companion the family donkey Nana. On Toto's first night in the stable, grandfather paid him a visit to see if he was comfortable. To his surprise, he found Nana without apparent cause, pulling at her halter and trying to keep her head as far as possible from a bundle of hay. Grandfather gave Nana a slap across her haunches and she jerked back, dragging Toto with her. He had fastened onto her long ears with his sharp little teeth. Toto and Nana never became friends. When the writer's grandmother finally came to know of Toto's presence in the house, she allotted him space in the stable along with the family donkey Nana. On the first night in the stable, grandfather visited Toto. He found Nana restless, pulling its rope in order to stay away from the heap of hay. Grandfather hit Nana on the back in order to stop it. Nana jumped back with a jerk and Toto was dragged along with her. Toto fastened onto her long ears with his sharp teeth. So Toto and Nana never lived together with comfort. They never became friends. A great treat for Toto during cold winter evenings was the large bowl of warm water given him by grandmother for his bath. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand and then gradually step into the bath. First one foot, then the other, as he had seen me doing, until he was into the water up to his neck. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hands or feet and rub himself all over. When the water became cold, he would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto's feelings would be hurt and he would refuse to go on with his bath. One day, Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. In the winter season, Toto enjoyed having a warm bath which used to give him by grandmother. He would behave to be selfish and before sharing his bath, he would check the temperature of the water. He first kept one foot and then the other into the tub as he would copy the writer. Finally, would sit in the water with his face out of it. Then he would rub himself with soap. When the water became cold, he would run out of it to stove into the kitchen in order to dry himself. Toto got annoyed if he was laughed upon. He would get hurt and then refuse to take bath. The writer here recollects an incident when one day Toto had almost boiled himself. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in, with his head sticking out from the open kettle. This was just fine for a while, until the water began to boil. Toto then raised himself a little, but finding it cold outside, and sat down again. He continued hopping up and down for some time, until grandmother arrived and hauled him, half boiled and out of the kettle. In a large kettle, water was boiling on the stove for the tea. As we know, that Toto was very notorious monkey and he could not stand still. He was not finding any other activity that day, so he decided to climb up to the stove and to remove the lid from it. He felt that the water was warm enough for him to take a bath. He entered the kettle with his head out of it. When the water started boiling, it became hot for Toto. He thought of coming out of the kettle, but as the temperature outside was cold for him, he stayed in it. It was when the writer's grandmother arrived then she took out the half boiled monkey out of the kettle. If there is a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it. The author said here that if there is a part in our brain that governs our ability to create mischief, then that part in Toto's brain was highly developed as he had great capacity to do mischief. He was always busy doing mischief and tearing things into pieces. Whenever the author's aunts passed near by him, Toto tried to get hold of the aunt and to tear their dresses. One day, at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao stood in the center of the dining table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice. My grandmother screamed and Toto threw a plate at her. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao and made his exit through a window. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree, the dish still in his arms. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice and determined on finishing every grain. And then, in order to spite grandmother, who had screamed at him, he threw the dish down from the tree and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. The author recollects another incident when Toto created a lot of mischief. At lunchtime, a large dish of pulao was placed on the center of the dining table. When the family entered the room and reached to eat, they found Toto eating it. The author's grandmother screamed at Toto and in response he threw a plate at her. When one of the aunts tried to catch Toto, they received a glass of water on their face. When the grandfather arrived, Toto left the place through a window with dish of pulao along with him. Toto remained out the entire afternoon. He sat on the branch of a jackfruit tree. He was stubborn at that time and determined and decided to eat all the rice. As the grandmother had screamed on him, he wanted to annoy her further and so, after eating the rice, he threw the dish. It broke into several pieces. Obviously, Toto was not the sort of the pet who could keep for long. Even grandfather realized that we were not well to do and could not afford the frequent loss of dishes and clothes, curtains, and wallpaper. So, grandfather found the Tonga driver and sold Toto back to him for only 3 rupees. Finally, grandfather realized that Toto was not that kind of pet which they kept at home for a long time. They could not afford the frequent losses of various things like clothes, curtains, wallpapers, and dishes. So the grandfather sold Toto back to the same Tonga driver for a sum of 3 rupees. So I hope children you have enjoyed the story of Toto. Now here I have given you textual question answer of this chapter. Write down in neat and legible handwriting. And revise it for your upcoming exams. Thank you.